In the heart of Africa, a cub lay broken and forgotten. His pride abandoned him, his mother gone, and death circling above. By every rule of the wild, he was destined to vanish into the dust. But what happened next would shock the savannah. This is the story of the forgotten prince, how a young lion, left for dead, defied every odds to rise as a king. Lions are called the kings of beasts. They rule the grasslands with strength, unity, and the power of their pride. Yet behind the roars, the hunts, and the thrones of dominance lie stories untold. Stories of weakness, of abandonment, of forgotten lives. This is not the tale of a famous lion, immortalized by documentaries. This is about one cub unseen, and wanted, and left to die. Yet somehow, he survived. Somehow, he returned. And somehow, he changed everything. He was born last in the litter. Smaller than his brothers, weaker than his sisters. For a lion, being born weak is a death sentence. Nature has no mercy, and his pride, led by a dominant male, had little room for weakness. But his mother, Nia, saw something in him. She kept him close, shielding him from his siblings' rough play, nursing him longer, carrying him when he lagged behind, for weeks. Her protection was the only reason he lived. But fate is not always kind. A rival pride swept through the territory. The dominant male was killed. Cubs unrelated to the invaders were slaughtered. This is nature's brutal law. The small cub, hidden in the thicket, survived, but at a cost. His mother never returned. He wandered for days. Hunger gnawed at his ribs. His cries echoed into the night, unanswered. In lion society, orphans rarely live. They are too small to hunt, too fragile to fight. And yet, somehow, this cub pressed on. He stole scraps from hyena kills, drank from muddy pools, and hid at the sound of footsteps. Every sunrise was a miracle. Scientists who study lions call such cases ghost cubs, orphans who vanish from records, assumed dead. But this cub's ghost would not fade. One night, hyenas closed in. They laughed, circled, waiting for him to falter. But the cub discovered something: primal courage. He growled. He swiped. He held his ground until a herd of buffalo, disturbed by the noise, scattered the hyenas. Survival was not strength, it was chance, and chance was on his side. He shadowed packs of wild dogs, scavenging after them. Once, a female dog paused, watching him. Instead of chasing him off, she allowed him near, as though recognizing his desperation. Ethologists describe such behavior as cross-species tolerance, rare, but not impossible. It gave him time to grow teeth, time to build strength, time to learn. Science explains part of his survival. Lion cubs, even orphaned, have strong neurochemical triggers that heighten memory and survival instincts. Stress floods their system with adrenaline, sharpening focus. Hunger rewires behavior, forcing innovation. What looks like luck is, in many ways, biology, an ancient script written into their blood. Months became years. The cub was no longer small, scarred, hardened, lean. He emerged on the edge of his birth pride's territory. They did not recognize him. They saw only a stranger. And lions do not welcome strangers. He was chased out, mauled, driven off. But he returned again. And again. Each time, stronger. Each time, wiser. His persistence defied logic. Ethologists note that lions rarely reclaim old prides once exiled. But this lion, this forgotten prince, refused to vanish. The moment came when the pride's aging male weakened. The prince challenged him. The fight was brutal. Teeth clashed, claws tore flesh, blood stained the grass. By dawn, the old king limped away. The forgotten cub, once abandoned to die, now stood as ruler of the pride he was never meant to see again. As leader, he ruled differently. Observers noticed he tolerated cubs not his own, breaking the cycle of infanticide that had once nearly killed him. He guarded them fiercely, allowing the pride to flourish. Was it memory? Was it empathy? We may never know, but his rule gave life, not death. Neurobiologists explain that lions, like humans, release oxytocin during social bonding. This chemical reduces aggression, increases empathy, and fosters protection. For this lion, shaped by abandonment, perhaps his brain rewired survival into compassion. What was once weakness became strength. His pride flourished. Cubs grew strong. Females thrived under his leadership. And for years, the savannah echoed not with his solitude, but with the roars of a king who should never have lived. The Forgotten Prince reminds us that survival is not only strength, it is persistence. That leadership is not only power, it is compassion. And that even in the wildest corners of the earth, the smallest life, abandoned and unseen, can rise to greatness. But remember this: nature never guarantees tomorrow. The story of the Forgotten Prince ends with him as king. But every reign carries a shadow. Somewhere in the distance, another challenger is waiting. Will his legacy endure, or will he, too, be forgotten? If this story moved you, share it. Let the world hear the roar of the Forgotten Prince. Subscribe to Triller Pictures for more stories that prove survival, love, and memory stretch beyond the wild.